Who was it?
Olive. I don't remember.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I really wanted to open for her.
What's her face?
Yeah.
That's all right. My mom's going to be in town. And,
My mom's going to be in town too.
Really?
My mom's
Well,
going to
she
be in
lives
town too.
here.
That weekend, yeah.
Really?
Really?
The last weekend in April?
Yeah, my mom and my dad are coming.
Do you guys want to do like a big like family style?
Family style.
Get everybody together? We'll go to
Olive
get
Garden?
some barbecue or something. We could go to Olive Garden. Chillis. I live pretty close to the Chillis on Stasny and 35. My mom would be pissed if she wouldn't go to Chillis.
Chili's is disgusting.
Would your
big
parents
Chili's
go to? If your parents came to Austin, would they go to Chillis?
They'd go to Chili's. They wouldn't want to go to Olive Garden.
Got you. What a weird distinction.
No,
for your
Italian
parents to
for
make.
Jersey.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So we can have imitation Southwest food. We can't have imitation Italian food.
Yeah.
There's a line. I love that. That's
I will
awesome.
not eat Chili's.
My mom wouldn't go. My mom would be like, I didn't come all the way down to Austin to eat at a Chili's. I don't even eat at Chili's at home. That would be my mom.
My mom was like, I live here. Sure, let's go.
Your mom would be such a good sport
Yeah.
about it. Your mom would be the best energy at the
She
table.
would, and she would also be like, I actually can't eat anything here. Bummer. But it's okay because I'm fine.
Caesar salad, no croutons, dressing on the side.
Yeah, that's exactly what she would
That's
get.
exactly what she'd get.
She'd get that or a hamburger.
That's awesome.
The amount of times I've been to Hop Dotty and my mom will be like, yeah, so, and then awful family news. The amount of times
My mom does that
one
too.
of us has cried in Hop Dotty is about 10, 15 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, so-
Hop Sabi. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Give
It
it
was
to you?
pretty good.
No.
It was pretty good.
Did your mom move here before you did?
That story is pretty crazy.
It's a good thing this is a podcast.
I just don't, because the person is involved is a lawyer, and I don't want to defame him.
Is it Carl?
It is Carl.
You don't want to defame him. You made bumper stickers that said "fuck Carl."
Right, I just don't know what, because they got a divorce, and I don't really know what he knows about that divorce. I don't
also
know
told
how
the story
he
of
much.
when you gave Carl ecstasy on the podcast.
That's
No, Carl-
totally fine.
Did you give Carl ecstasy or did he buy the ecstasy?
That's a very good distinction because I didn't have any money. He brought me ecstasy.
Yeah.
And then he thought he had a heart attack.
No, he did have a heart attack.
Good.
No. All of that's totally fine
man.
because it doesn't have anything to do with the divorce.
Dude, Carl jokes used to be probably about a third of Colton's set. Said
Yeah.
if Colton was talking for 20 minutes, he would spend 7 to 10 of those minutes talking about Carl. And
More Carl material than your dad material?
Carl's insufferable
Oh,
son.
yeah.
Oh, lots of Carl material.
Yeah.
It's a big well.
A big,
big one.
honestly, those two. I ran into him recently. Did I tell you that?
Who, Carl?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. It was sad.
How's he doing?
Well, firstly, I saw his dog, but it's actually, and then my brain thought, why is that midget walking the dog? And then I look up and it was Carl. Here's the thing is, he killed his last dog. He murdered his last dog.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
On purpose?
That's a whole fishy scenario. That
Is your dad kind of short too?
he's 5'8",
Yeah.
but he's not 5'2".
So does your mom kind of have a thing for short dudes?
She's been tall, small. I think
Has she dated short?
she's dated 6'4" too.
Okay.
She's all over the map. But she'll just be like, yeah, I don't even like wearing heels anmoore. Like, no, it's because Carl feels uncomfortable.
Peg, yeah.
It's because
Is he
you don't
really
want-
5'2"?
Yeah, he's 5'2", but he wears boots, so he's 5'4".
Oh, wow.
Texas,
Little
dude.
cowboy boots.
Fucking love Texas.
Yeah, I was walking into Cava, and he's like, yeah, I work here. And I was like, oh, I go here every day. He's like, I've never been there, but we always go to that bar over there. We go to Caroline's. We go to this. And I was like, we? Who's we? Are you saying we as in you and your dog? And he goes, yeah. Okay, Carl. Okay.
So did he like? He was like pleasantly surprised to see you. He's like Colton, or was it?
It was. We
Tense.
both were like, "This sucks."
You guys both
I was
just had a
hoping
conversation
to
you
never,
didn't wanna have?
Yeah, and he was also. I was trying to count the amount of White Claws he was holding in his hands because a normal 12-pack looks huge in his hands. So I don't think they make 24 packs of White Claws.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so like he was just carrying it. It just. It was so that's who that's yeah. It was pretty uneventful, but I said good to see you, and I was like, you fucking idiot, Colton.
Does he only have little dogs?
It's a Vizsla.
Well, is that a little rat dog or is that a big dog? Because I imagine a little
It's a
guy.
hunting dog.
Really? So it's
Yeah,
a big dog.
Carl has like I think over 100 guns. He loves hunting.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
if you're
he's
short.
5'2". Of
Yeah.
course, he has over 100 guns.
You know what I never did was I never compared him to. Well, I guess I don't know his name, so I can't do that. Mr. Wilbur or the cartoon Wasco Wabbits.
Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd.
Did you say Mr. Wilbur?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you thought Elmer Fudd's name was, Mr. Wilbur.
Hey, we got there. We got there, didn't we?
It's like you were raised on Chinese Looney Tunes or something.
Generic, yeah. We weren't able to have name brand Looney Tunes.
You had the bottom of the shelf, had to get Looney Tunes in the big bag rather than the box.
I don't. When I watch movies and life, also, I don't remember people's names.
Yeah, I know.
Is that
You're like,
bad?
well, they weren't talking about me, so why do I need to know about them?
I know. I don't think you're. I always remember. I remember listening to Romeo and Juliet, and I was like, "What isn't a name? You know, what if a rose is called a rose or not a rose? It's not a rose. Yeah, it's a rose. Yeah, you'd still.
Is that
be,
what you were thinking
If you
when
were
you listened
still,
to-
if you were named Jimmy and you were named Martin, you guys would probably still be the same.
You think so?
That's not true.
did-
Haven't you ever heard the song "A Boy Named Sue"?
Yeah. Did you ever
I've
read the?
heard it.
Did you ever read the Freakonomics book?
Yeah.
There is a whole like science to naming kids. There was a guy who named one of his kids Winner and one of his kids Loser. And the kid named Winner was like a drug addict, in and out of jail all the time and shit like that. The kid named Loser was like owned 4 successful McDonald's. But he owned
What
them.
a winner!
He owned them. I mean,
No, I mean that
own
is
4
no.
McDonald's. You're like a
No, I know.
multimillionaire. It's
No,
a
he's great.
good amount of money.
But
Trevor,
so the science is if you have a worse name, you'll do better.
Well, one thing is that names actually go by class. So people I don't know if it's as true now, but like basically like people that lived in wealthier families would started naming their kids certain names, and then those names like literally trickle down into lower classes. So that's why like a lot of people, there was like an era where there was a lot of Chelseas, a lot of Jessicas, and those were originally names in wealthier
Yeah, I've seen like a lot of
classes.
poor children being called Colton these days.
Yeah.
Like, you guys would never have as much
Yeah.
money as my.
Liam is the
Liam
big one.
Neeson?
Yeah, Liam started as a very wealthy name, and now Liam's like way more common now than it was 20
What's
years
the
ago.
richest names? Probably a rapper's. Probably West and Potato.
Beyonce.
Trevor Noah, he grew up with a kid named Hitler. That was his first name.
His first name.
It was either Hitler or Adolf, but like, yeah, named after Hitler. And the reason was because people in South Africa, they don't know a lot about history,
Right.
but they know that, you know, the name Hitler or Adolf was like a very powerful man.
Because it's a black kid, right?
Yeah, as a black kid.
Yeah.
And so the whole story behind it is like they would name their kids after these powerful dictators because it commanded respect at the time.
Right.
And he goes, and we were in a dance troupe, and we would go to different schools and dance for them. And one time we went to this Jewish school, and Hitler was the best dancer on the team.
So everyone's
So,
going, go Hitler,
Yeah, he
go
went in the
Hitler.
middle, and we all went, go Hitler, and then they were like, what the fuck?
That's
and they shut it down,
amazing.
and they're like, how dare you disrespect us? And from their perspective, they thought that they just didn't like their buddy Hitler. And they're
Right,
like,
they thought they
"Fuck
were
you.
being the racist.
And so then they
Hitler's
started dancing
great. We
harder.
love Hitler.
Yeah.
Hitler's the fucking man. And they're like, you pieces of shit.
That's
And they just
insane.
got into this big argument about it.
Also, how pissed off would Hitler be if he found out that the little black kid's named after him too, though?
Oh yeah, he just zooms back. He's like, "So we lost the war, then,
This
huh? We lost the war in the future."
Definitely not what I was going for, you know?
Jesus, you know how you think your day's going good, really, and then you take some meth, and then one day the future comes. You've seen the war, right?
You know, I have seen the war.
It sounds like he
Oh,
also
man.
could have just been like, "That's the start of the Black Israelites." You know?
That's right. That's right. Well,
is-
speaking of kooky characters, we got a great episode today. Nice little segue.
Hitler was kooky.
He was kooky. Do you think Hitler would have been a good like pro wrestler character? Hitler would have been a great heel.
I mean, I don't know,
He would have been a great.
but he was
like,
everybody else's hero.
bad guy wrestler.
I don't think he wasn't really a bad guy. He wasn't playing the role of a bad guy. He was a bad guy, but he was playing the role of a good guy.
No, please talk some more. Please. You talk more.
What I'm saying is that he didn't think he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
So I don't think he could play a heel.
Well, I think he could play it. I don't
No,
think
you think he was a good actor?
Do you think the guys
As an artist, just because I'm not painting doesn't mean I don't do it with my fucking
Well, he
words.
was a good. I mean, I don't think a lot of wrestlers are good actors.
And I also think the best villains don't think they're villains.
No, I think you have to be charismatic and passionate. That's why you're such a good villain.
God, cast me. Cast me.
Plus-
or I'll murder 4 kids. That was a good
Have you ever seen Paul Bearer from the WWE?
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
looks like Hitler.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
He's a
kind of
fat
has the
Hitler.
mustache. Kind of has the mustache.
Paul Bearer?
Paul Bearer. It's like a play on words.
No, I know that word.
You know, like when Paul Bearers, but it's not a Paul Bearer. It's Paul Bearer.
He worked with The Undertaker, right?
Look it up. Yeah, The Undertaker and Kane. Other people too, I think. But yeah. So no, I agree. I think he'd cut a great promo. You know, he's just so passionate. He'd be like German.
The problem is, what if
German
he got
Macho
too
Man.
good?
He'd
People
be
loved
so,
CM Punk for a while.
Yeah, he'd be so good. Well, that's like what happened with The Rock, where The Rock was like a bad guy initially, and he was just so much. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be calling Hitler so much fun, but The Rock was just so much fun as a heel, and he had so much energy that he became
Same
like
thing
a
with
baby
Stone
face,
Cold.
You know, yeah, same thing with. I mean, countless wrestlers, John Cena. You know,
Nobody wants to like the good guy. Like Captain America sucks. He's boring as hell. Everyone likes Batman.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the squeaky clean image. There's no relatability, you know, when a character is too good, because it's like you can't find their flaws and, you know, kind of relate to them on a negative level. They're just this perfect thing, perfect.
But I think
entity.
that has a lot to do with our generation, you know? Because
Yeah, I
my
think so,
dad's
too.
generation definitely was like, we are fucking so lucky that we won Vietnam.
Well, and
We didn't
know-
win Vietnam.
No, I know.
And I think the,
and I think that he kind of knows that too.
Oh, really? He'll like argue with it though?
He goes, well, I mean, it was a strategic retreat. I mean, I don't know.
he's like, we didn't lose.
We didn't lose.
We didn't lose.
He goes, you know, we just decided our objectives were met and we left. No, that's not what happened.
So yeah, today we're talking about wrestling personas, wrestling characters, some of the worst or dumbest ones that have ever came about. Some of the funny ones that are honorable mentions that we're gonna just kind of breeze through real quick. There was Dink and Doink, it was a circus clown and then his midget assistant, and they were in wrestling for a little while. There was Booger Bastion, which was this 400-pound dude that they said they made his, like, basically they gave him this character where they're like, you're going to play this disgusting slob where you, like, pick your nose and you eat all the time and you have to wear this really small leotard that looks disgusting on you. And they said it was just Vince McMahon, like the owner of WWF or WWE, just, like, punishing this guy for being out of shape. He's like, if you're going to be out of shape, you have to be the grossest character ever. And then one of my favorites that I just couldn't find enough on, but they had this guy named Manitar, and he would come out in a giant, like, minotaur, like, headdress that went, like, down to his rib cage. And when he first started wearing it, he'd, like, try to get in the ring, and he couldn't fit. So, like, eventually, like, they had to, like, change around the entire costume because the thing just wouldn't, he, like, physically couldn't get in the ring. Moving on to the two that I want to cover for the day, though. One of my favorites that I found was this, like, late 80s wrestling tag team match called the Ding Dongs. So,
Should we introduce the show?
did we not introduce the show?
I feel like we didn't.
Oh, shit. Yeah, let's do it. Hey, guys.
You guys, drugs are bad, okay?
Drugs
Even
are
if
bad.
you stop doing them, it'll still affect your brain.
And especially if you keep doing them.
Yeah. And my name is Colton Dowling. That's Martin Henn. And
I'm
we
Martin
got Jimmy
Henn.
Clifford, as always. This is Seasoned Vets.
That's
You're probably
right.
wondering, what the fuck am I listening to? Really, what you're listening to is a sports-adjacent podcast. And today we're talking about wrestling. Wrestling is sports adjacent in itself in that it's not real.
Yeah.
But gymnastics is real.
I think, are you going to do this? Are you doing offensive characters for the offensive character show?
No, I was doing South Park.
Oh,
Just
gotcha.
because it's not real doesn't mean it's not real.
I don't know. I mean, wrestling isn't. I guess the results of the match are planned and choreographed, right? But I don't know. Is dancing not real?
Yes.
Dancing's fake.
Dancing is fake.
There was plenty of boxing that was not real.
That's fair. Are you guys gonna do this all day?
We'll find out. As long as it's still fun for us, I'm going to keep doing it. Other things that aren't real. Martin Henn's dad's love for... Wait, I was trying to remember what he did.
Photography?
Photography. He doesn't love it.
No,
Not real.
No, it's not. He just needs to get in the woods.
Yeah, well, wrestling is fake, but jumping off of things and landing on people, that's real.
Yeah, like the physicality of it, the athleticism and the physicality of it's for sure real. Like you have to be some kind of an athlete or at least have some kind of pain tolerance.
Wrestling is Cirque du Soleil to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
That's
that's a decent comparison.
And I think that Cirque du Soleil is more impressive. So that's what I
What
watch.
do you think is more impressive? A wrestler like John Cena
Yeah.
or an action star like Sylvester Stallone?
Let's say like Jason Statham.
John
Jason
Cena.
Statham.
But that's just because I like the way he looks.
Okay, but I'm saying if you had to do one or the other, which version of Colton would you be more impressed with?
Superstar.
The actor.
What is that? That wasn't a choice.
Well, I was also going to put out a music label. I didn't want to tell you guys, but I've been
Superstar.
working on that one. Wait, wasn't that my option? Superstar Sylvester Stallone?
Oh, I mean, I feel like superstar is definitely a WWE word, right?
Yeah. Superstar is just like a general word.
Oh, okay.
Big shot actor or big shot wrestler? Is
yeah,
that what you're trying
yeah.
to...
Big shot actor.
You think that's more impressive? Like Keanu Reeves is more impressive than The Rock? I mean, The Rock's a bad example, but then like Randy Orton?
Yes, because I don't know who Randy Orton is.
But I'm just saying from a physical... Martin, you know what I mean. What do you think? Because I think they're the exact same. If anything, I think that the wrestling is more impressive because there's no like...
Stunt.
Not stunt. There's for sure stunts, but like in a movie, you're doing like, okay, we're about to do this thing. Everybody, 3, 2, 1. We did it. Okay, now we're moving on to the next one.
Oh, so are you saying like what's more impressive between wrestling choreography and like fight choreography? Like kind of
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
I think definitely wrestling choreography because there's so much more room for error.
For sure.
Like what you're saying, like it's not nearly as controlled. And you'll see, oh man, we're not gonna do it this week, but we're gonna do an episode about this guy who's like an extreme wrestler from the 80s. He's called New Jack. And like legit, he threw a guy off some fucking rafters once just because the guy had fucked up a throw like about a year back. Like it's I don't know, the potential to get seriously hurt.
People
is so
break their
high in
neck all the
wrestling.
time.
Yeah. Well, and then I mean, not even that.
All the time?
Yeah, it's happened many times.
Yeah. Not even that, but you think about like long-term effects. These guys have like CTE like football players, you know. I mean, there's guys that have like serious long-term damage. I don't think anybody has ever been professional stuntman, sure, you sacrifice your body, but as a professional actor, I don't think we can point to an actor in their old age and say, man, their acting career really physically ruined their body. Mm-hmm. You know? So I think right there, it's just like the sacrifice you're making is way more.
Jackie Chan.
He's still doing his
Dude,
thing.
Jackie Chan's alive and kicking, pun intended.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we decided wrestling is real. But what about these characters?
Real.
So we're going to talk about a couple different characters that were just like some of the dumbest ideas or concepts that were came up with. One of the ones I really liked was the Ding Dongs. I just love the name. So the Ding Dongs was comprised of two wrestlers, Greg Evans and Richard Sartain. They made their name on an independent circuit as a tag team called the Rock and Roll Rebels, and then WCW called them in the late 80s to get them on a national platform. I love wrestling because it feels like 99% of these ideas or 99% of what happens is strictly because of cocaine. Like all these ideas sound so cocaine fueled, and it's hilarious to me. The guy that came up with the Ding Dongs idea was this WCW exec named Jim Herd. Jim Herd is regarded as like one of the worst like storytellers or like kind of originators in wrestling. One of his bad ideas was when Ric Flair was really popular, he made Ric Flair cut his hair and then change his name to Spartacus, which it's like you're taking one of your like best products and you're like, okay, let's completely rebrand them into something nobody knows.
Everybody knows who Spartacus is.
Right, but when you like I mean like within the WCW lore.
Actually, technically, nobody knew who Spartacus was because I am Spartacus.
Whoa. Good point.
Okay, I'm glad you guys saw that one scene. I'm pretty sure it was on a Coca-Cola commercial.
I think it wasn't a Coca-Cola.
I'm talking
commercial.
about the homoerotic HBO Max version, which was so gay. That was you guys watched it, right?
No.
Really?
They made a HBO Max Spartacus.
Yeah,
but it's super.
You never
gay.
saw it? Oh my god!
Did you ever see
the season
sorry.
1? The lead, he died of like some gay thing.
Asthma?
Yeah, no.
Did you?
Actually, I think it. Actually,
That's
you guys,
a good joke,
I'm
Colton.
Did you guys ever see Behind the Candelabra where Michael Douglas plays Liberace?
Yeah.
Oh man, that ruined Matt Damon for me.
Oh no, it was cancer.
It was cancer. Well, cancer's pretty gay in my book. So
Did you hear Norm's joke about the Candelabra movie?
no.
He goes, Liberace never said he was gay. Like, he never admitted to being gay, so it's like,
Right.
you just made a movie about this guy and just called him fucking gay the whole time, and he would not have been cool with that shit.
Yeah.
That's so
My bubby
funny.
was always like, "Stop saying that about him. You can wear whatever you want and still like women." I was like, "That's true,
Look at Prince.
Yeah, well, tell that to conservatives,
right? You don't think Prince is
gay?
Prince gay?
I don't think he was gay.
Probably bi, right?
Yeah,
I don't think Prince gave a fuck.
I don't think
think
Prince
he-
gave
I
a
think
fuck
Prince
about
just-
who blew him. I don't think
man,
Prince
I
was
think-
passing out blowjobs.
I think Prince. Oh well, Prince might not have been on the receiving end, but I don't think Prince cared who he was throwing it into.
No, on the giving end.
I don't think that makes him less or more of a.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Diplo said-
I just think personally.
Colton, you didn't hear what Diplo said recently?
Diplo?
Yeah, Diplo was on a podcast like maybe a week or two ago, and he goes, "Yeah, I mean, I'm famous. Guys blow me all the time. That doesn't
Yeah.
make me gay. I'm not bi. I just sometimes let guys suck my dick. I don't care." He goes,
Yeah.
This is what he said. Actually, the quote was, he goes, "It's not gay because I don't look at them while they're doing it."
Wow.
Oh wow,
Isn't that crazy?
fun little loophole though. Sounds like
it's like a
Dip
glory
low.
hole.
Get low. Damn. It is like a glory hole that you could just take anywhere you go. It's a little game called hide and seek.
right? I mean, with a name like Dip Low, you're getting a lot of blowjobs.
Yeah.
It's also like, you have so much money. Why can't you just be like, yeah, I guess if that makes me a little bi, then so what? He's like, no. I do get the blowjobs, and that's not gonna stop.
Yeah. Well, that's
no
the
one
thing.
call me gay.
He's so rich, he doesn't have to be that. He can be straight.
Maybe
He's,
it's a-
I have so much money, I can get blown by a guy and not be gay.
Maybe it's a challenge.
But that's not really. That's just like defying what the word gay means.
Right?
No, maybe it's
That's
a challenge.
How much
Maybe
money he has.
I guess we don't. I guess what I wonder if he was like, oh, I thought you guys meant gay isn't bad. Like he just didn't know that word.
Right. He didn't know it for
He's like,
homosexual.
oh, homosexual? Yes, I
Yeah.
am a homosexual.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge queer, but not gay.
Yeah, I'm the B and the
Maybe,
bisexual.
maybe he's just waiting for that one blowjob that's so good that he's like, fuck, you know what? That switched it. Now I am
love
gay.
you.
Right,
I don't
right.
love them. Is that what makes you gay?
I don't love them.
Yeah, maybe it's an emotional thing for him, but he's not looking down. Do you think he's specifically like talking to a man who's not wearing socks with dress shoes? He's Look it up.
He's looking at. He's got like a big picture of some titties right on his ceiling.
Yeah.
And he's just staring up at him. Not gay.
He just looks down and says, "Oh, dang, I'm so rich."
So straight right now. I'm so rich right now. Oh man. So one of my favorite.
Quick, give me $20.
One of my favorite promos, going back to Jim Herd, one of my favorite promos that Jim wanted to do was Jim Herd pitched the idea of a tag team called the Hunchbacks. And he thought the Hunchbacks would be a great idea because they'd be impossible to pin.
Yeah.
So that was like the whole gimmick. The room shot that one down. So he came up with a different gimmick. He came up with a tag team called the Ding Dongs. The team they were supposed to appeal to kids. They were supposed to appeal to like a child demographic. And he was like, yeah, we're going to put a bunch of bells on their necks and ankles, and they're going to come out with a bell. And they're just going to ring the bell, and the kids are going to fucking love it. And that was his whole pitch.
Has he ever talked to a kid before?
I know, right? It's like it's the late 80s, too. They have Nintendo by now. Like, bells.
Yeah, but you could sell merch. You
can
know.
sell a little bell merch.
There's that aspect because you get one of those things that just like the cheapest fucking toy that has like a light and like
so
kids will make their parents pay $40 for that shit.
The idea was they had this bell that they had ringside, and when one of them was getting the shit beat out of them, the other one would ring the bell, and that would rally them, and the whole crowd would get excited. So they come out for their first match, and they're ringing the bells and everything like that. Everybody, and they're supposed to be like fan favorites. Everybody fucking hated these guys.
Yeah.
They're just super annoyed. They rang the bell for 2 minutes straight, and the whole crowd started booing them because, yeah, that's so annoying. For 2 minutes?
What's the bell?
What does it look like?
Yeah, is it on their shoes?
So they had like little bells that were kind of like around them, and then it was like a mini like church bell. So it had like a rope. The one that they held ringside. So, like, the guy would hold it like this and then, like, do the rope like that. And
see, they probably could have made it cooler. Like, if they had a big bell, and then whenever they're beating the guy, they take the guy, put his head in the bell, and then bang it around.
yeah.
That would be cooler.
They could have done so much fun shit. So, they only lasted 3 matches. The first match they won, and they got booed a bunch. The second match, the guy got hit in the face with a canteen, and they lost. And then the third match, which was their final match, was where they were setting up another tag team, which was called the Skyscrapers. And the Skyscrapers are these, like, huge, imposing, giant men. And the Skyscrapers just beat the shit out of the Ding Dongs. One of them was Ding. The other one was Dong. Ding and Dong both got rocked. And then they got their masks ripped off. And that was the end of the Ding Dongs.
Yeah. That's a bad name.
Now, do those fighters no longer fight in the WWF?
No, this was like late 80s. So I think they tried to transition into some other characters, and it just never really stuck.
Our new thing is blue balls. I'm blue, he's balls.
There were 2 guys that were called the Johnsons, and they came out in completely like nude colored like skin suits, and one of them was Rod and the other one was Richard.
Damn.
Dude, there were some gems in the 80s.
See, I
How
don't
often
think
are
that
they
it's
doing new
that
characters
difficult
now?
to come up with these characters.
Right.
Most
That's what
of the
I was
guys
thinking.
now, I mean, we don't do characters like they did before. Now it's like Roman Reigns or
They do
John
them a
Cena.
little bit. You still get some guys that are like
The Wyatt brothers.
yeah, like the Wyatt brothers are a little bit more charactery. There's some that have a little bit more of a gimmick. There was like Daniel Bryan who had like the yes thing. But there's some ones that I really miss. Did you ever watch wrestling when Al Snow was in it and he had the head?
No.
So there was a guy named Al Snow, and he brought a mannequin head around and like talked to it, and he would just always be like, "I need more head," and like shit like that. It's like, give him head. It was super fun.
I feel like we could all come up with like an easy one right now.
Who would you be, Colton?
Okay, so this character is based off of Marjorie Green. I'd be Major Green. And I would get voices in my head. And that sometimes when I'm doing well, the voices would take over. And I'd go have like a fucking schizophrenic attack in the corner while getting beat up sometimes. But then I would drink some gay frog water and then come back,
and they would be like
and they would be like Popeye and his spinach. But I
tag team with Alex Jones. I love that. That's a good one.
I would name myself Andrew Tate, but I would only fight women.
Could you be Andrew Taint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be.
I would only fight women. I could fight men, but fighting women is so fun. What? That's fighting men is gay. You want me to touch their balls?
I would be the outsourcer, and I would be like some like super rich, like very well off guy, and then I would just find other poor people to fight for me.
You're saying poor. So how would you represent them?
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna leave that to WWE.
It just sounds like maybe you're saying outsource, so specifically countries like
The outsourcer.
Right.
Yeah, and you just ship people in to fight for you.
Right. Damn. So you're just really going full tilt on.
I'm not a good guy.
Yeah. But you also have that accent. You're probably like, I'm so sorry.
Hey, sorry to make you do this. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're gonna
that could be another one. I could just be like Midwest grandpa, and it's like you're like farm strong. You're wearing jeans that you've owned for 48 years.
I like that. Daisy Dukes.
That's a fun one. But that's sometimes that's like what
It's
guys
way better
have
than
to
fucking
do.
Ding Dong. All three of our ideas are
Way better than the
Ding
ding-dongs. But that's what these guys had to do sometimes, and kind of still have to do too. I feel like the character work is more to break in, and then a lot of these guys will break in as a character, and then they're kind of able to sort of become themselves more, or like become less of a character and more of their own identity. Because I feel like John Cena started out sort of as more of a character, and now he's just more of like a brand.
But you know why they want to be themselves? Because then they don't have to pay WWE anymore.
Right.
The Rock had a big legal problem because he was known as The Rock. In all of his movies, it was The Rock. It wasn't Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Right.
And every time they published The Rock, Vince McMahon gets a check. So if you just become famous as a WWE guy and you're like, Randy Orton or whatever, and it's your name, then you don't have to pay back. They don't own
Big
you.
money. So some of these guys have to like basically kind of transition out of these characters. One guy that came up with a character that we're gonna kind of finish on today was named Nick Dinsmore. He was a really solid wrestler, really good technically, and it was one of those things where like he was always almost getting called up, and he just wasn't quite there. He couldn't quite get over the hump, and he was getting passed over by guys like John Cena. He got passed over by Bautista, Randy Orton, like you mentioned earlier. So it was like he was seeing these guys start a little bit later than he did, and then like kind of catapult over him. In the early 2000s, Dinsmore had an idea that the WWE finally wanted to use. He would debut as Eugene, who was a special needs wrestler who learned his moves watching every week as a kid. So the idea was pitched by Dinsmore, who wanted to do more character work. He was trying to do more of a throwback to what the WWE used to be. And he thought of this idea where it was like, I'll just be this guy who like doesn't know how to tie his shoes. He's like completely incompetent. And then he gets in the ring and he's good. And when he brought the idea to the WWE, they're like, no, we're going to make you like on the spectrum-y instead. So he had to sell that. He's like, he would say,
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. How do they introduce these background stories?
So this guy was Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff is like a manager, right? He's like a guy that like books fights. He's like an overseer, right? So they pitch him as Eric Bischoff's nephew. And he's like, we just want to get him a little work. He's he's really a special guy, like shit like that.
Okay.
And so then he comes on and he's acting all like that. During the fucking...
So your name is the outsourcer, and now you're doing personal impressions of...
I'm doing an impression of an impression. It's okay. He comes out and like kind of, just acts special, and then he would get in the ring and he would still he would pretend to be disabled in the ring, but sometimes he would win fights.
Yeah, I mean, I Am Sam came out in 2008.
Yeah, this guy's Eugene's story arc was like 04 to 07.
Okay, actually, I think that I think I Am Sam came out around then.
I feel like it came out around the same time as The Ringer too. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So The Ringer came out in 2005. So
I Am Sam came out in 2001.
2001.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So we're starting to get a timeline here.
I Am Sam, then Eugene, then The Ringer.
Right. And so you were asking, like, what are some things they would do to, like, convey this character or something? These were some of the things they had Eugene do. They won it in one episode of Monday Night Raw. They had him host a game of musical chairs.
Mm-hmm. Damn, I want to watch that, actually. That sounds very fun.
They made him GM of Monday Night Raw for a night, and his office was a bounce house.
They said he was a devout Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking moron.
At one point, they tried to make him turn into a heel. Like, they tried to make him a bad guy, and he kept thinking he was more special than everybody. He's just like, I'm really special.
Yeah.
And like gave him like a feeling of superiority. It didn't really stick. And that was kind of the end of his career, was like they tried to turn him into like a bad guy, and it's like, this is uncomfortable.
Did
now.
he have R word strength?
I mean, one would imagine, he won a lot of fights.
He did win.
He did win. Yeah, I think he won the tag team championship, if I'm not mistaken, with
Who was his partner?
Steven Regal. So basically, Eric Bischoff brought him into wrestling, and then they moved him to this guy Steven Regal, who Steven Regal was like also a GM, and he's like, hey, can you just, as a favor, can you like take care of my nephew? And so they would do all these things where like Eugene would kind of get into some shit, and then Steven would have to bail him out.
That is so much backstory. I didn't realize that there.
It's 3 years. It's 3 years of episodes. Could you imagine, too, pretending to be mentally disabled for 3 years on TV?
Hey, yeah, I'm going to be on TV, Dad.
And then everybody's, like, recognizing you, like, in Walmart and stuff. And just, like, coming up to you.
Eugene is the perfect. That was also the nerd in Grease. That guy's name was Eugene.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other Eugenes.
One of the most uncomfortable things they did was in one of the SmackDown vs. Raw video games. Mm-hmm. One of the mini games is you have to get Eugene to walk down like the big entrance and make sure he doesn't fall over. Mm-hmm. And it's like a balance game that you have to play.
A what?
Like a balance game you have to play.
Sorry, I don't know what word you're saying.
Balance.
Balance.
Balance. Balance.
Balance?
Balance.
Do you hear this guy?
Fuck you.
We got our own Eugene in the studio today.
I just didn't know if he was doing. I was like, is he talking like Eugene? Pretty suspicious.
Balance.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if I'm high or I'm saying it wrong now.
You think it's balance?
Balance.
Okay.
Balance.
Yeah.
Did I say it right that time?
I think so.
Balance. God damn it.
So he's walking on a balance beam.
Balance beam. So that was a couple of the things that they did. The character wound up fizzling out. Nick Dinsmore had to go to rehab kind of in the middle of the Eugene storyline. And when they brought him back...
Wait. Like is that a character who went to rehab?
No, he went to rehab.
Oh, okay.
He went to rehab in real life.
For?
Like drinking and drugs.
Yeah.
It's all. I mean, all those guys get hooked on like painkillers and shit like that. There's no way you can't. So he came. Once he came back, the momentum kind of slowed, and then kind of eventually the character got phased out. Mm-hmm. Nick Dinsmore does like podcasting now. I was watching him like go over one of the matches where he became like a bad guy. And he just sounds like a guy that was in the WWE for 3 years, where he's talking like he's a vet because he did wrestling for a super long time. But he's like, oh yeah, me and I don't know, one
name
of the
dropping
guys. What's that?
Just name dropping the whole time.
Yeah, exactly, like that kind of shit. But yeah, so that's Nick Dinsmore and Eugene.
Yeah, that's rough. I imagine it's similar, like if you're playing the mentally challenged wrestler. And I imagine a lot of your fans relate to you.
That was one of the comments I saw, was that there's that, and that's the thing, is there's a lot of
wait.
There's
I'm
a lot of
so
special
sorry.
needs wrestling fans.
Where are you going with this?
It takes some of the fun out of it, right? Like if you're The Rock and your whole thing is you're the bad boy, every time you go and you're like signing autographs, you're getting chicks showing you their titties, like, oh my God, The Rock is so cool.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're Nick, then you have to just beware of, corners or on tables or
right. He was dumb. What was the likable thing about him?
not a very fun fan group.
Right. Who were his fans?
What was the likable thing about Eugene?
Yeah, like what was his thing that he was good at?
Are you cheering? How do you boo him?
Right. Well, I
How do you boo? How do you boo a mentally disabled guy?
Because he's not mentally disabled.
He's not mentally disabled.
Right, but it's a part of so is that what you're booing? You're booing the nuance. You're going. It's
nuance.
Not, that's the thing. Is if you like wrestling, you don't give a fuck that it's not real. If you like wrestling, you don't care that this guy is pretending to be mentally disabled.
Yeah, but you don't think if there was a wrestler that was like, let's say I became a wrestler, and I'm like, my character is African tribesman, and I come out in blackface every day. Yeah. I'm gonna get booed.
Well, that's like
it's like no. It's the character.
Right.
Are you getting booed though?
Yeah.
If you did that back to them,
Yeah.
I think you won their hearts. This guy's hilarious. He just turned our boos into a fucking good song. Maybe he is a little black.
I think this is also like kind of a different time, you know? Like this is like we were talking about. This is 04 to 07. So like The Ringer came out in the middle of this.
What a great movie.
Like there's very viable like other media that's kind of doing, Forrest Gump. Like there's things that have already kind of, I guess, laid the groundwork for this.
Do you think Forrest Gump could be made today?
Yeah.
I think
that's a hero story.
Could be made.
That's great.
I think it absolutely could be made, but I think there would be way more of a clinical look at his like mental state.
Well, he didn't have any diseases.
Like,
they just said he was stupid.
He's done slow. Yeah, exactly. So I think they would like diagnose him as like on the spectrum.
There would be somebody like representation matters. You should have a stupid person playing a stupid person. Like there would be that.
He won't know the lines.
What?
He wouldn't know the lines.
It would be hard, but you still have to do it.
You need an autistic person to play the new Forrest Gump. Jesse Eisenberg's not doing anything right now. I think we're going to be fine.
Jesse Eisenberg's autistic?
Oh, God. Is he not?
I think he's just a good actor, isn't he?
Jesse Eisenberg's not autistic, but he writes autism into the backstory of every single one of his roles.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, he
played Zuckerberg well.
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor, yeah. Dude, the kid in Zombieland always making lists.
Okay, I didn't actually know who you're talking about. I thought Jesse Eisenberg
of course you didn't.
Was the son in Breaking Bad.
No, that's not Jesse. That's just some guy.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Walt
the
Jr.
Son that's
Yeah.
that's on the.
That guy definitely had cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
Who knows?
No, that's
I don't
not
know.
him.
Did I ever tell you guys my cerebral palsy
But that guy's
story?
name was Eisenberg, right?
No, in the show, his
Jesse,
drug dealer name was Heisenberg.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and Jesse.
His name was Walter White in the show.
Jesse was his drug dealer partner.
And Jesse was the drug dealer.
Okay. Who knows?
You are so wrong on everything.
No, I
you've
believe
said.
you. I believe you.
You know, when I was in college, they made us watch a documentary about cerebral palsy. It was about this dude with cerebral palsy looking to get a job. That's all he wanted was a job. And it was supposed to be like this motivational, uplifting story, but I couldn't help but laugh through the entire thing.
Right.
Because like he went into one of the staffing like temp agencies and they're like giving him a questionnaire and someone's like, "So what disability do you have?" And he goes, "I have cerebral palsy." And they're like, "What caused your cerebral palsy?" And he goes, "What the fuck?" And I just burst out laughing. And then it's like this whole like really heartwarming story. Right. And at the end of it, he finally gets a job and he's like, "I love my job." His job was he worked at a McDonald's, not in the back, not as a cash register. He worked as a greeter at McDonald's. And he was supposed to walk up to tables while they were eating their meal and ask them, "Do you enjoy your meal? Are you?" And like just talk to them while they're there.
Uh-huh.
Could you think of a worse fucking thing if you like 6 a.m. in the morning, you're a day laborer, you stop in to have an egg sandwich at McDonald's, and then some dude with cerebral palsy comes up and just starts having a fucking conversation with you.
Regardless, I don't want to talk to anybody if I'm in a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
And now you're like, I feel bad.
They're asking me, are you enjoying your meal? It's like, no, dude. You've eaten this shit. It's fucking gross.
Are you enjoying your meal? It was worth $1.
Yeah.
I spent the $1 again.
Yeah, you mean the deep fried cancer I just consumed? Yeah, it was fine.
Also, now that they just completely gutted most McDonald's with all those fucking order by yourself machines, he doesn't have a job anymore.
No.
Goodness, no. Unemployed. Well, that's our episode. So thank you guys for tuning in.
This is sports. If you don't like sports, don't listen.
Or was it sports?
Yeah.
Real.
We have a fun things coming up. You guys check us out on all the things. We are on. If you're on social, we are there. So
that's right.
Help and download and tell your friends. Also, email seasoned vets.
We got it all.
Podcast@gmail.com.
That's what we're doing.
And let us know what kind of stories you want to hear.
Yeah, let's hear it. We'll do some. In your face.
Peace.
Bye.
Martin chose the story.